I'm just going to call this video, the short video, Bob Tries to Talk Some Sense. And what I'm going to do here is tell you some things that my stances are not going to change on whether I'm alive or dead. I've decided there's a certain thing here. My stance is going to remain the same on. I stand against. I support President Trump, but I stand against him if he disagrees with me on this. On this issue, I don't stand against him, but on this issue, I would disagree with him. All right. I disagree with the United States of America's laws. I disagree with our scientists. I disagree with almost all of Christian religion that I know as sanctioned in the schools and everybody else when it comes to our drug laws. And that's my stance. I'm going to continue to do that. I think that God created medicine. I think that God allows evil to exist. He has ordained evil, and I learned that from, I forgot his name, a preacher. A certain angle of that, which has actually helped me to accomplish some new strides on this. But unfortunately, I don't have a great memory. But I am a marathon type of thinker. I put an analyzer, and I like the truth. All right, so this is the truth. I'm just more confident that this is true. That our scientists, evolution to me is false science, and mostly run by evolutionists, our science community, influenced the outlawing of God's most natural plant medicines over 100 years ago, and they put them and created the cartel by doing so. Put them in the hands of cartel. Cartel makes 100% forms versus 2% forms. That's the best summary I can give you. And it's hard for our country. I don't know exactly how they should legalize stuff and do stuff, but marijuana to me is not the one miracle drug, and everything else is the devil. I don't believe that. I'm not falling for marijuana as the only one that can be a good drug, and everything else is bad. As a matter of fact, I think marijuana is a downer, and I think there's a lot of good uppers. Caffeine is one example. Caffeine's an okay upper. I don't think it's a great upper, but they made it legal because they think it's a great. I've heard people say that's a great drug. That's the best drug there is. The best medicine there is caffeine. But it'll give you a heart attack. It'll give you a stroke if you do too much, and give you a bad temper if you do it too regularly too much. All right, so I'm just saying my stance is remaining the same. I'm coming back out. I have had a lot of trouble with losing phones. Lost a lot of phones recently. I think since the ACP program went away from COVID, where people were able to get phones. I think people, if you live in amongst poor communities like me and you fall into small temptations here and there, they're after your phone more than ever. Anyway, so I've had trouble keeping phones, my emails. I can't access. I froze my what do you call it? TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, my credit, and I can't unfreeze it because it's attached to an email, which I can't get back into. That was lost with my phone. I can't change my phone number on my bank account. I can't do. There's a lot of stuff I can't do because I can't recover my email. So I haven't been able to talk much, and I haven't been able to say much. I've been around crowds that say don't speak. They don't let anybody speak, and I've been around drug cartel crowds a lot. That go get help with food. Homeless people. I'm homeless. Been homeless a lot, and so but I had been around a community where it's very strong, where they don't want anybody to talk, and they make it a crime to talk in their little community, right? I still try to get my words in here and there somewhere, but so I don't agree with the cartels. I don't agree with the religions who have, and they say some of the same things, by the way. But how do I summarize all this? So I'm just making a statement. I'm still alive for now. I've done stuff for, you know, I've been around people who have done bad things, and some people think, if there's a situation where apparently some people thought I had some involvement in somebody else doing something wrong. Apparently, I don't know the story. Nobody's told me the story, but something happened somewhere at a house party after I left, apparently. But police were around. They were called to this house party, and there was I guess for noise. I don't know. And they saw the house man walk me out of the house, as far as I know. And so they protected me when I walking out of that city. And people don't know why. They thought I know something that went on. I really know. I'm still speculating what happened and who it happened to or stuff. And Anyway, but there's certain people that want to blame me for that. I don't I don't even know these people. I was traveling. I was traveling through the town trying to rest my feet, and somebody invites me to a party. I trying to rest my feet because I had walked 50 miles because I lost my ID. I had no access to money. So I was in a race to get to a small town or some town that would let me get my ID fairly quickly so I can get money out of the bank. I couldn't, I had a little food card that kicked in somewhere in there. I forget what the dates were. I don't remember what days those were the date. I didn't keep track of that. But I was in a hurry and to get a new ID so I can get money out of the bank. Anyway, because I needed water, I needed stuff like that, right? So anyway, that's where what I was. This person invites me to a party. I don't know the people. Anyway, but stuff like that comes. There's different things that happen, and people can hold grudges. And I don't know what happened. Something happened. I heard people yelling about it, and the police were out there following me and protecting me. Kind of, it appeared they protected me and didn't want me to speak to them because I assumed they thought that might be to me at the time. I don't know, but they let me. They know I wasn't there when something apparently happened because they were already there and saw me leave, as far as I know. So because I went to check his mail, walked me out the front door and went to check his mail, and right past where the police were. Now they didn't seem to be paying attention. They were talking and laughing about something that I noticed. I just looked down and kept walking, and but 2 miles down the road, coming a crowd of people are coming by me and people coming by me slowly, but seemed almost like undercover, protecting me. They were not in uniform, and there were people yelling that something happened, and this person was over there, and I couldn't tell if I was understanding what they were saying, but it appeared they were protecting me, and I was walking to the next city, and one cop revealed his uniform right before I got to the city borderline. He showed me his uniform, didn't indicate he wanted me to speak or anything. And so I took that cue. I thought maybe it's dangerous for me to speak or something. And they're protecting me. But they were there. They must have seen me leave before something happened. So I don't know about that. But my point is, uh, that was there probably some cartel people or let's see, gangs or something involved that are coming after me. The police aren't after me, but some of the gangs or other people or people who are against parties are after me. Want to blame everybody that was at the party for whatever happened. And um, anyway, I don't. Those kind of things can happen. So I'm just saying it seemed like some people wanted to target me and like they may be targeting to shoot me. There were people following me for a while, and so like I say, if I'm alive, but for many other reasons before that, I could have died any night because I was staying outdoors. I was living outdoors. So, but I want to say my stance is still the same, and I want the truth. I think they should legalize plant medicines like the coca leaf tea. Yes, coke. Well, cocaine comes from the coca leaf tea. Whether the cocaine itself should be legalized, I don't know. Coca leaf tea, I think, is probably the best natural depression medicine. I don't think downers are the only good thing. The marijuana is the only miracle drug. They still Trump's falling for that, in my view. He's falling for, but in a sense, trying to be sympathetic to understand medicine's medicine. He's using marijuana to do that, and he's looking at it like it's the only good drug. But he's falling for that trick, though, that it's the only good drug out there. There's a lot of good medicines, right? You just There are a lot of good medicines in a 2% form, not in a 100% form. Cocaine is a 100% form of the coca leaf. They're making slaves out of Colombia, I think. Colombians are being made slaves out of, crushing millions of leaves to make one line of coke. When Colombia could be making money off of legal tea that they drink, selling it around the world, the tea, with 2 or 3 leaves. All they have to do is put 2 or 3 leaves. And it's not potent. It's not as strong as coffee, from what I understand. I can't verify that for sure. But it's definitely not as strong as the cocaine and what they're doing. They crush, so they're being slaved to crush, and crush, and crush, and crush, get out the concentrated forms of the leaf, and then make coke, and then they send it to America, and all these people they'll cook it into crack cocaine and stuff like that. So they're not really sending crack. Maybe they do send some crack, but they actually just get the powder forms here and cook it. And certain people, they'll mix it with stuff. Black people out and do different things. They've done it. But then, in that culture, it doesn't happen as much as with maybe the meth. The meth people mix stuff in meth. Meth does not come from a natural source. So I don't advocate meth, crystal meth, but I do advocate coca leaf tea. And so people jump at me and demonize me for that. I think it's safer than marijuana. It's kind of like caffeine. So I don't know that 100%, but I believe it's safer. We've been had a big trick played on us, and I've had people that have been to Colombia tell me that if you made caffeine illegal, you'd have the exact same problems you have with the cocaine and everything else. Everybody would be stealing from people that have different powerful forms and mixed forms. You'd have the same problem. They could steal from you as soon as you take the caffeine. They can steal from you and make it look like you spent all your money on drugs, right? Anyway, but they would the price would go way up, all that kind of stuff. The street price would go up. Different things would happen. So my stance is the truth. I believe in the truth, and I'm not telling a lie. I'm telling the truth. So the truth, not just from my understanding, some of these things, it's not going to change because it's just the truth. The coca leaf itself is not as strong as the cocaine that they squeeze out of it. They make it that you can make a 2% form, you can instead of 100% form. That's the truth about it. Every one of those medicines. And an example of a synthetic drug is fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic form of heroin. It's not from the natural plant. It's 100 times stronger than heroin in many form ways. But they've made it into a medicine. They use it in hospitals, from what I understand. They use some forms of fentanyl in hospitals instead of morphine. Morphine. The problem with morphine is it works. It cures pain. It's from the natural plant. They may add a few things to it, I'm not sure, but it's probably actually a good medicine. We demonize it because people get addicted to it. But you're not going to get addicted to a medicine if you believe in Jesus Christ. I haven't gotten addicted because I can't. I've relapsed, but I have not gotten addicted because I can't stand to stay not sober for any long period of time. I like my mind to be able to think about God, think about other people, and be in more realistic ways of thinking. But I'm not against using the medicine for pain and stuff periodically. Although I actually advise against that if you can. I go for the higher calling. I prefer not to, and I've still relapsed. Though I preferred not to. I still hope to get to that point where I don't have a relapse. Right. So um, anyway, but there's all these things. I've done the one thing I've done good on is love your neighbor, love God, love your neighbor. I've done good on those two basic laws. From my, if I went to judge myself and thought through everything I do, well, first of all, I'd say I feel like I'm the friendliest person I've ever seen. That doesn't make me a good man though, because being the friendliest person I've ever seen has gotten me robbed a lot. But I've also acted like a fool at times. I've been the fool, been the pacifist, been given into fear, given into you know, just knowing there's nowhere else to go, nobody to hang. I relate to people who have been robbed. So it's not when I've gone back to relapse sometimes I'm wanting to be around people who have can relate to me. All these goody goody tissue people. I relate to the underground world better than I do the upper ground world when it comes to the pains I've been through and knowing that there's a bunch of lies out there, right? And so the upper world, they think all those people are fools, they're bad people, uh, drugs are the devil, all this kind of stuff. I can't relate to that. But frankly, most of the people in the underground world feed into that same message on purpose to keep their business going. So, and a lot of them do it because it's just what they're used to, but they don't, all of them don't hate people and love seeing people hurt. There's some of them that still stick up for people. And the main thing you need to learn is love your neighbor, God's forgiveness, redemption, mercy. You're not the only, everybody else is not the only sinner. You're a sinner too. Uh, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You are just a sinner. You are just a sinner. You are just a sinner who can only be saved by grace. One of my newer songs. Anyway, but we're all just sinners. I got people from cartels that act like I'm the worst person in the world for if I've missed a shower. They'll do that. They'll go to that extent. Well, I jumped in the ocean to get my bath. Anyway, I'm going to end this video because of time. It seems like I can never say very much, and time just flies by. But plus, I want it. I don't know if it'll upload if I go any longer. But I'm just basically saying Bob tries to talk sense in this video, and just let people know our drug laws are so crooked. They allow theft. We look at drugs like they're worse than stealing. Drugs are medicines. I mean, bottom line, drugs are medicines. You can abuse medicines, but they need to quit outlawing the consumers, and the onus should be on the dealers. They should have a license to deal. They shouldn't be allowed to steal, use their groups to steal from people and get them drunk, high, isolate them, and all that kind of stuff. But people who consume should be held accountable for their behavior, not because they abused the drug. You shouldn't make it, oh, they're going to jail because they used the drug they shouldn't have used. Put them in jail 10 years even for a prescription drug if it was somebody else's and all that kind of stuff. The thing they should be held accountable for is if they steal on the drug, if they get violent on the drug, if they become an adulterer on the drug in a way that affects other people negatively, they should be held accountable for those issues. And of course, uh, the way we judge adultery um, is probably overkill as well a lot of times. But uh, me, if I'm not sober, I'm not going to steal from somebody. I'm not going to hurt somebody. But I would be tempted to be a lover of pleasure and fornication, right? That's me. If I get something that's too strong and want to go too far, that'll make me want to be a lover of pleasure rather than a lover of God, right? Temporarily, anyway. So, but I don't want to be that. I wouldn't, and I don't like those street drugs. I don't like those kind of things. But that's all they have. And so, and it's in your face if you're living outdoors. When I've been outdoors all night, temptation's there. I don't believe in staying in temptation, but if you can't afford to be in a place, like I can't afford to, I can't even change my phone number at my bank right now because I can't get my emails and prove I'm me. But I'm able to get cash out as long as I don't try to change anything. They might, I don't know what they'll do, put it on a freeze. I can't unfreeze my accounts and get a new bank. Can't have a debit card now. I've lost too many debit cards. But if I get a new bank, I can have a debit card. So I can't buy my books from Amazon. I can't do a lot of stuff. So anyway, it's not really fair. It's weird. It's the Democrats lied when they said you don't need an ID. If you don't have the same phone number and email, it's hard to do anything. By the way, so there's a lot of stuff I'm connected to in my Amazon account, different things that I can't access. You know, and that's because people stole from me, right? But um, I've lost. I can't. I don't have access to my where I wrote my books. A lot of my other emails that are connected to YouTube uh, may never get access again. I might. I'm still working on it, but I'm not sure how. If I can do it, I'm not sure how because I have to have one thing to get access to another thing, and I don't have that thing. But I can't get access to that thing without the other thing, and I can't get access to the other thing without that thing. How do I do it? So there's tricks. I keep working on it, and I've recovered a couple of emails, but not the main ones because they're not connected. I can't recover the ones I changed my emails and passwords because I had been robbed, and so these emails aren't connected to those ones. They can't help me with recover the other ones. So anyway, I'm ending this before 20 minutes, and hopefully it'll upload. But that's kind of my statement. It's a few statements. I have a lot more to say. I mean, about stuff I've learned, and you know, but um, I don't know. I don't know what to say right now because I don't have time to say anything. So what do I do? Some people think talk doesn't matter at all. They think truth doesn't matter at all. They think nothing matters. They think you shouldn't talk politics or religion. If you don't believe in talking politics or religion, you're in the wrong country. That's what this country is built on. And by the way, thou shalt not kill is politics. You don't just go kill people. You talk about that and why, and you build a conscience against it.